Okay guys, it's me Leigh and I'm back for part 2, and this is putting the pages in our 6x6 album, and I'll show you pockets and an extra page. So um, I got the hidden hinge on, wrapped the album. uh, I can link it below for you. I don't know why there's a white piece of tape there. This is a hidden hinge. I already put the tape on and I burnished a little bit of glue there, burnished down, and I put tape on all 4 sides. Okay, so we're going to make pocket pages, and they fit. The one side that's open fits on here, and the other side is a pocket. So let me show you what I did. Okay, so I have 3 made, and we only need to do 1 more. The size is, you need 4 sheets, 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. I will show you this, and you can screenshot it at the end. Okay, my notes are right there. 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. You need 4. Okay, you then need 4 at 5 3/4 by 6 3/4, and you need to score on the 6 3/4 side 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. Okay, so on the longer side, you're going to go 1/2 inch and score down. Rotate it is easier for me. 1/2 inch and score down. Okay, then you're going to get your bone folder and burnish both sides. Okay, this is your 4 pieces left over from the 5 3/4 by the 5 3/4. This is the perfect pocket size. This is what we're going to use for 4 pockets. Put that off to the side. This is what you slide in and make your pull-out pocket that has the lip. This is the extra that you slide in, and you have your pull-out pocket with the extra lip. If you don't want the lip, then you would cut it off and not have the lip, but the lip just gives it a little extra. This is the pocket that I was talking about. Okay, so put these off to the side. Okay, so we get our glue, and I use glue on this, but if you would like tape, go ahead and get your tape, and let's get the glue down and put glue on here and glue this 5 3/4 by 6 3/4 with the scoring on both ends to the 5 3/4 and 5 3/4. So let's put the 2 pages together. So just take your time. You do have time with the glue. That's the good thing. I make sure that I run my edges, feel that I have it secure, and then I pinch and I burnish with my fingers. Then I open and I re-burnish, move any glue that oozes out. Then I burnish with my bone folder. Okay, and there you go. There's one side. We could have just made this 5 3/4 a 1/2 inch longer and score on each page the same, but I don't know, I just had this in my head, and this is my measurements. After I make this album, I will give you other ways to make other pages in different sizes. The first part will always be how to cover it. It won't change unless we use lace or something like that, because I've done that before. Okay, so to make it easy, this has already been burnished. I put it down. It's going to lay down, and I make it lay flat so that we don't get a hump in our, we don't get a bow. So if I make it lay flat, when I glue it together, it goes to right where it needs to be. I burnish with my finger. I actually even burnish inside, and I look for glue and feel if there's any glue, because I would hate for this to get stuck. And then I burnish just a little bit, and make sure it works. Okay, so there's our 4 pages. So let's put our 4 pages in the book. And then I'll show you how to make a pocket and how to add another page, and then we'll be done. I do nip just a hair, that much, off of each corner. That makes it just slide in a little easier. I have to rotate it. Okay, put those away. Okay, the book does not seem to have a better side than the other, so I get my pokey tool, and I start from the back, and I take one piece of tape off. I do run, this gets the most usage, is this hidden hinge in the pages, so I do run a bead of glue right down the center. Okay, that glue's about going out. I take my sheet. I do not go to my score line. Stay off of the score line. What I kind of do is I just look between here and down here, and I try to line that up, because your hinge may not be totally balanced, and you might have more of your pages tighter to this than the hinge here, but it's all going to glue down. So does that look good? That looks good. And I seal it. Okay, and burnish, 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 rub. Okay, the tape is still in here. I find this, find the tape. I do take and run glue. Okay, there we go, page 1. Okay, now on the second one, I start back on the top side, pull the tape off, run a bead of glue. It just gives it more support. Okay, I think I'm running out, so let me get a new one. I'm just going to trade caps. I need to start buying the bigger bottles. I have to run down to my craft store. It's a scrapbook store. Okay. Oh, that's a heavy bead right there because it's full. Okay. You can't go wrong, because the only way is the slit goes onto the hinge. So now the second one you line up a little different. You stay off that hinge, but now you want it to line up equally with your other page. You don't want one to be off, and so you try to line it up on that line, on this line, and so it's down. Okay, you flip it. Well, you can burnish it too. Flip it. Let's get our pokey tool that's got glue all over it, and let's get a hold of that tape. Let's be careful with the glue since it's wanting to come out. See how much came out. Thank gosh it dries clear. I go ahead and rub it off because it is a little shiny. Okay, flip that over, do the top side. That way it's easier to line up. If you do this side, then you're lining up to nothing, and you want to line up all equally, and it gets equal that way. It measures out better. Let's add our line of glue. Stay off the score line. Line it up with our other papers. And it's dark, so let me see if I did this or did this. I guess you can't see it any better. I'll bring it closer. And it looks like it's really down there, too close to the score line, so let me pull it out and push, and it is sealed. Okay, let me show you how they're all lined up evenly as best as possible with the first one. The first one is your guide. Okay. Let's run a bead of glue, just a little. Let's see, this container is a small little container. It is 2 ounces, and it made 6, 8 albums and then some other crafts. When I bought it at the expo, they only had the 2-ounce ones, or I'd have bought the bigger bottle, but they had a special on the glue and the tip. Sometimes the edges here are prettier than the other, and I like to put the prettier one up to the top, because when you're looking at an album, you more or less see the top of the album, not the bottom as much. So let's line up the pages. My fingers are telling me they feel lined up. Let me see, it's too close to the score line, isn't it? Let's move that tape. Let's see, let's start over because I wasn't wanting to move as much. Okay, let's get it in place. It feels like it's off the score line. Yes, it's tight. Our last page. See, the pages go in so much quicker than wrapping it. If you're not sure how we got to where we're at, I will link the first video to this one, and it is how to wrap and how to make the hinge. And if you know how to wrap and you only want to know how to do the hidden hinge, then fast forward or pull your scan bar. Okay, so there we go. There is our album. And what I meant by the prettier ones, how you glued it, the prettier ones at the top, because when you're looking at it, you're holding it like this, so you don't look at the bottom so much. So there's that. Okay, so this is the extra sheets we got from the 6 3/4 by 5 3/4. This is the extra paper. This is where I would have made my hinges from, is from 1 or 2 of these. So this is all the leftover paper we're going to have out of the 8 sheets of paper to make these pockets, or these. And this is still usable, and you can still make extra flaps and make smaller ones like we did in the Graphic 45 Off to the Races. I made 2 flap extra pages. So, you know, you can do a lot. So here is the extra page. The extra page is always 5 3/4. All of them are 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 because we wanted to give just a little extra, and it's not that much. Can you see? It's not that much from a 6 by 6 album. There is an eighth of an inch once it's all said and done and packed and layered. So this is the extra 2 sheets. So you have what, 3 of these and 3 of these when it's all said and done. So this is the extra page, and it's 5 3/4 by 6 1/4. 6 1/4 side. You take your scoreboard on the long side, the 6 1/4, and you score it at a half all the way down. So we scored it at a half. You can see right there where it's a half has been scored. Everything we did tonight is scored at a half. Okay? So this is, once again, the extra page, 5 3/4 by 6 3/4. Where do you want the extra page? Do you want to put the extra page here and just corner around it and have an extra page flopping up, and you can do it on every page, and you take glue here and you put it right on that edge, okay? But then when you put paper on this, it covers that seam and it won't be seen. Do you take the extra page and you center it in between here, and it gets glued on right there? Do you not like it that it's full and you want to cut an inch off this, and you want to cut an inch off and it's be a little shorter, and you can see this page and this one? Do you want to put it here? Do you want to put it this direction? Do you want to put it this? Do you want to open up the main pages and have it open this way here and one open this way? Let me show you the off to the races one more time really fast. So my extra page is here. And see how the paper covered up where the little ½ inch was. And I made the cards that come with it. I added cardstock behind it and then a tuck spot. Here is where I said this is the extra paper. That goes here. On this one, remember I said we're going to have a few extra pieces? Well, I cut it down so that we were enjoying, say that wasn't even there, we're enjoying this one, and then this one we can see 2. Okay, so this is a smaller extra page. I cut it, and in fact, let me give you that size. You might like it. So it is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 by 5 1/2, because half of it is scored down. So you only see 5 right here, but the other half is scored down. Okay. And remember, I'm going to show you how to make your pockets real fast. Just hang on. See if you can have it there, or you can hide it and have it there. So, and here's just an extra page, and then here is a tuck spot on there. Okay, remember how I said here is the main page? Okay, not this one. Let me show you the other book. I'm going to try to hurry, guys. I want to show you all the different ways you can do this. So here it is with just pockets and no extra pages, and here's the extra pocket. Okay? But on this one, the extra pages is on the side here, and it's got pockets. This is just the flaps that are from the extra pages that goes inside the pockets. But here are the extra page flaps, and there's 2. And this right here is our main spine. This is 2 pages and 2 pages, and then we put the 2 extra pages here. Okay? and then we put an extra page back there. If you want to see a full tutorial on these or a project share, I have it. Just look 1 and 2 behind these videos I'm making here. Okay, so wherever you want this extra page, you glue it whatever direction. If you want to see more of this page shining through, I would cut it, remember it was 5.5, so I would cut it 1 inch on this side, not on the score side. Okay, so that's all about extra pages. Now let's see. We wanted to, okay, so we put aside for the pockets. So the pockets are 5 3/4, because that's how I cut my paper, by 2 3/4. And it goes to right here. And it's hard to see. So let me pull this one back out. So this is right here. It's where the green is. Okay? It's where the little chicky eggs are. And all I did was put tape on 3 sides, the white tape, and I used the thinnest one I had, and I put it on the 3 sides. I flipped it over after I peeled it off, and I stuck it down from this edge to this edge to this edge. This edge, and this edge matched up, and there's your pocket. So what I mean by that is I put it on this edge, that edge to that edge, and I didn't want a gusset, and I can show you how to do a gusset in a different album. I didn't want a gusset. I wanted it tight enough. I didn't want it slipping out. Okay, so there we go. Now that's how you take your 4 pieces, and you have your size here. I gave you your size was 2 3/4 by 5 3/4. So there's already 4. This album has 10 pockets. So I took my extra sheets and I made pockets on all of it. And then you said, well, how do I make these pockets that go inside here? This is the 4 extra that we trimmed from this. And so I stuck my paper in there. And okay, I have maybe, I don't know, let's measure how much space I have left. I have, I gotta look at my cheat sheet here to give you the exact. If you want to take a screenshot of that, go ahead and do it. I love it. I have it on a clothespin at all times. But I have, how much extra do I have here? Not a half. So, well, let me see. I could measure the paper now. It's almost 1/4 extra room. It's 1/4. But for 1/4 to make it a little tighter, I'm not going to cut the paper. So what I do to make this work is all I do is make a tick mark right there. And so I have a pin mark. So that tells me that about 5 5/16, which is right after the 5 1/4, is inside the pocket. So what's on the outside of the pocket is where my tick mark, my pencil mark is, and I just line it up on here, not anywhere, because I don't know where it's at, and I follow that line and I score. And I score. Okay, so then I fold it over. But what I have been doing is to make it go in easier and to give it a little color, a little dimension, I do all 4 corners and round the corners with a corner rounder. Okay, so if I took this, it would fit in here. See? Because all this is the same size. This will go right here. And look how much, a little bit longer. They're shorter in this album by a little bit because I was running out of paper. So you put it in here, and there's your insert. And it gives more paper. It gives a journaling section. So why cut this off just to have a pocket? It looks cute that way. I would round those corners. Okay, so how am I going to make it equal on all the others, on the other pages? So what I do is I go back, and now I measure. And I'm like, okay, it is at that blue. This is 5. This is 5 1/4, and it's the one right after it, so it's 5 3/8. But I don't know, because the measurement's not right there. I just know it's right after the 5, and it's the second blue little mark. So I just go here, and I see the second 1, 2, and I just score. This paper is really thick. It's 80-pound linen, and I fold over. I wonder if there's a way. I think there is, and I've forgotten it. Oh, you fold the direction or the opposite direction. Yeah, you fold. I folded it the wrong way, so I just fixed it. So there you go. So now that is where I score all 4 of these. And I know that I'm going to make this album, so let me go ahead and score all of them. Okay. Measure one, measure twice, cut once, like a carpenter. Always measure twice, cut once. I get all excited and happy, and boy, do I can make the mistakes. So I scored it, and it goes that way. Not towards me, away from me. There we go. Okay, so let me get my album, and let me find my corner punches. And it's time to decorate. After I do these, and I showed you how to put a pocket on, all you do is put tape on 3 sides, and make sure when you put the tape on that the tape is at the bottom of the page, not the top, because you want to come in and put your hand on there. So let's see, I'm going to have that one there. This one's going to open up to the middle. I hope you've enjoyed these tutorials. I will tell you how to do other 6x6 and different designs and add it to this playlist. See, that's a little crooked there. Why is that? What's it catching on? There we go. And I've been making a lot of 6x6. I'm ready to make that wedding album I was talking about, but I think that one's going to be a little bit bigger. 7 by something, I'm not sure. So there you go, guys. We could put extra pages in, and I would definitely round these corners or even make it a smaller. But let me see if you can see where it would go. Okay, let me think. Did I tell you everything you needed to know about this one? Let me show you once again. Okay, so what size paper is it that would fit on these? So here is the paper and all your measurements. Let's talk about the size. The size of the inside paper for the 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 album is 5.5 by 5.5 would be inside. You would have 1/8 going all the way around. The extra pocket, the extra page would be the same size, 5.5 by 5.5 by 5 1/2. The pocket, the top piece And let me go back over that because this is where I had to save on paper because I didn't have a lot of paper. This top piece of paper with a 1/8 border is 3 inches by 5.5. 3 by 5 1/2. Okay. I took the 3 inches by 5.5 and I took whatever was left over and it fit perfectly on this one and I flipped it. Okay. So that it would be coordinating. So the bottom pocket size would be 2.5 inside paper by 5.5. Okay. And this right here is whatever you have left over. So you can measure that out, I'm sure. So, okay, guys, I hope I went over everything with you. If you need to ask me anything, go ahead and put it in the comments. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you can tell me anything that maybe would help you on the next go around, just let me know. I'm so grateful that you're here. And remember, caring is sharing. And that's what we do. Good night.